Hello there. Sorry we're a little late today. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there in the world. How'd you guys celebrate today? I celebrated by sleeping in with Cammie, buying her own drink from Starbucks. Hello, Rose. A little bit longer for people to hop on. Rachel says hi. Hey, Christopher. Welcome, welcome, everyone.
Can't hear well.
Serious? Dang it. Can anyone else not hear me well? I've been having audio problems. And what the deal is. How's everyone else's audio issues? Man, things have not gone good the last couple times. Hello, hello. Is it just volume? I wonder if I need to turn it up. Okay. Rachel, maybe you need to turn it up. Scott and Christopher.
Rachel did turn it up.
Oh, can hear you now.
Rose couldn't hear you.
Oh, Rose, maybe you need to turn it up. I'm hoping it's you and not me. No offense. Cammie, you have any motherhood insights you want to drop on people today, or stories or something?
I think I've been learning that there's a bit of mothering in all of us. Like, even if you aren't a mother to children, or if you're not have like a female in origin or whatever, there's like mothering.
I now? This is so frustrating. Is that sound? What is the deal? Hello, hello?
Would relogging and do anything?
Hello, hello? How do I edit? Can't. Now you can hear it?
Working now.
That is so bad. Sorry about that, guys.
It stays that way.
Okay, we're not going to move. Okay, everyone can hear. We're not going to move the microphone.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's just start reading so we don't screw something up here again. So we're going to be reading chapter 9 from the book 2,000 Miles Together, the story of the largest family to hike the Appalachian Trail by me. This is an interactive service. So if you have something you want to say, type it in the little box, whether it's about the content or not. And that this. I'm going to restart GarageBand. Don't say. Okay. How's that? Is that any better?
It's back.
I just had to restart GarageBand. Hey, Christina. Why are some people saying it's back now and some people saying still can't hear? Okay, people can hear now. Oh my gosh. Sorry about this.
All right.
Let me know if the sound cuts out again.
Be real fast.
Yeah, seriously. Okay. We are reading from 2,000 Miles Together. We're going to hope to get through chapter 9 today. And the more if you have something to say, type it out because it'll make it more interesting. And we'll try and make this interactive as possible if we can get the audio to keep on working. Chapter 9 is called Our Allies. And the quote at the top says, "I have learned that to be with those I like is enough," by Walt Whitman. On day 42, we set a new mileage record covering 19.1 miles. At camp, our feet were in pain, but our spirits were high. We were less than a day away from Damascus, the most famous trail town on the AT. It's the home of Trail Days, a huge AT festival held in early summer to which thousands make the pilgrimage each year. Damascus is a destination for hikers, and many try and do the 30 miles preceding it in one single day, calling it the Damascus Dash. Earlier that day, we passed Fun Facts, Culligan, and Nubs, who were going to bed before sunset with the hopes of starting the Damascus Dash around 2 a.m. A huge part of me wanted to join them, but I knew it just wouldn't be feasible for our family. Cammie wouldn't be up for it, and I had to prioritize the needs of our kids. As much as I hated to admit it, it did feel like I was missing out on a special trail experience. I'd already felt like I was missing out on choosing trail family, finding other hikers who you formed a bond with. My trail family was already set. We woke up earlier than usual, though Fun Facts, Culligan, and Nubs had long passed us while we were sleeping. It was Cammie's birthday, and we were in a hurry to get to Damascus to celebrate while the sun rose. While the sun rose, we crossed the Tennessee border into Virginia, our fourth state. As we walked, Cammy munched on a birthday present from Seven, dehydrated cheesecake, which was like bizarre astronaut-style crunchy cheesecake-flavored puffs. That stuff was really weird. Seven had found a few weeks earlier in a store on one of our stops. We laughed about what a sweet but strange gift it was. Along the trail that day, I dropped my headlamp. I hadn't shut the zipper on my pack properly. When I realized it was missing, I had to run back, find it, and then run to catch up again, adding an extra 4 miles to my hike. This was demoralizing. And I also felt bad because we really wanted to get into town to celebrate your birthday. And I felt like I was like holding up the party by running back. But it also led to a revelation. Without my pack, running felt easy. As I made my way back to my family, I thought about the upcoming marathon in Cincinnati, the Flying Pig, which took place 5 minutes from our home in Kentucky. We had run it together with the kids for the past 4 years. We'd assumed we'd have to give up the tradition that year for the AT. Quitting the AT to run a marathon seemed ridiculous, especially now that we had a deadline. Plus, we hadn't run in almost 2 months, so we weren't anywhere near properly trained. But as I was running back with my headlamp, feeling great, I questioned the assumption. What if we could still participate? It's kind of funny because the Flying Pig Marathon was this last weekend, or at least it would have been, except for it was canceled for COVID. So that's the marathon we're talking about. All right, Cammie, you want to take over for a little bit?
Yep.
Jeez, this is a long chapter. Okay, if you want to show support, you can buy us some mocha by there's a financial thing. You can tip us if you want, or you can leave a comment, or you can leave a thumbs up on the video while we're reading and let us know what is interesting to you about this section. I'm passing it off to Cammie.
All right. No. Okay. All right. That is not where we're at. You have multiple bookmarks. Here we are. Where it all started. Damascus wasn't just a trail milestone for us. The town represented a nostalgic moment from our past. 17 years ago, before we heard of the AT, Cammie and I were living in Seattle and were struggling to pay for Cammie's nursing school, stay out of debt, and raise our 1-year-old daughter, Dove. We lived in a tiny apartment attached to the college and had a car that we had to push start every morning down the hill. I worked lunches waiting tables, and we made ends meet with the help of government assistant vouchers for free cheese and peanut butter. We just found out we were pregnant with number 2. We were living under the poverty line, but we were happy. We decided early on in our marriage that we'd rather live with a little inconvenience than spend our effort accumulating creature comforts. I had wanted to take a particular trip for a while, ride bikes across America. I was scared of settling down, and so was Cammie. Now that we were having kids, we thought our adventure days may be over. Everyone was warning us that the fun days were done. I was desperate to fit in one last adventure that scratched the itch of feeling wild and undomesticated by our society. Having saved up $2,000, I quit my job. We flew to the Atlantic Ocean with 2 mountain bikes and our government peanut butter and planned to bike back. 400 miles and many tears into our cross-country trip, we slept in someone's garage with a bunch of hikers sleeping on bales of hay. We started talking with 2 women, Penguin, who was 62, and Tea Time, who was 58. They explained they were hiking this thing called the Appalachian Trail that went right through this very town. We were captivated late into the night by their stories of the trail. We didn't know what a through hike was and had never tried backpacking, but a dream was born that night. Back then, I'd wanted to hike the AT right away, the year after our bike ride. With Cammie expecting Eden at that point, I thought having more kids would eliminate the possibility of a through hike because we could soon be outnumbered. We began to make plans for a through hike, but Cammie hated the idea, and the plans quickly fell through, and I eventually gave up the dream. We never heard of anyone doing it with kids. The AT is commonly populated by young people, pre kids, and retired people, post kids. 16 years passed until Cammie stumbled on Dixie's YouTube videos, reignited my dream, and began to dream of it for herself. Now on the trail, waiting so long seemed like the best thing that could have happened. I wondered for the first time if we were actually having a better experience out on the trail with 6 kids than our 22-year-old selves or even some solo hikers. That garage where we first heard of the trail was in Damascus. We had arrived there on bikes, and now we had arrived on foot. A woman named Tanya had offered to meet us at a park in the center of the city. She'd been following us online for a while, and like Nicole, she knew exactly what we liked. When she found out it was Cammie's birthday, she brought us cheeseburgers, candy, miniature boxes of our favorite cereal, and gourmet cupcakes. She even brought us lattes from Starbucks, freshly made in paper to go cups. This was a huge step up from the Starbucks powder drink we were mixing in Gatorade bottles with unfiltered, freezing stream water. This, man, I can still taste that food to this day. This is like one of those, we had a lot of food moments on the trail where people gave us food, but this is
Those
up there.
burgers are so good.
Yeah. Oh, man. So good. Okay. It was an emotional experience. It's hard to articulate the amount of care we felt coming out of the woods to a perfectly tailored list of our favorite creature comforts from a stranger in a park with no ability to reciprocate. Not only was her hospitality meaningful, but her mere presence meant everything. We felt perfectly at home in the public park that sat in the center of the small town that didn't even have cell reception. Full from the burgers, cupcakes, and drinks, we mentioned the idea of the marathon to the kids. We had no idea how they would respond to making the long drive home to run a 26.2-mile race with no training, then driving all the way back to continue the AT. What do you guys think? I asked. It's just an idea, but anyone want to take a detour to run a race? Dove's enthusiasm practically exploded out her, despite how tired she was. Yeah, very much yes. I really, 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 really want to run. Every other kid gave a resounding yes right away. Although running a marathon was a grueling activity, it was one the kids were familiar with. It felt normal to them. That's kind of funny. Also, the opportunity to go home to someplace familiar was exciting. Every night for the last 5 weeks, we'd had no idea what type of weather we were going to face or where we were going to lay our head each night. The kids were homesick. We spent a few hours eating and laughing, and Tanya drove the older kids to do their resupply at the store while we relaxed with our lattes in the grass, watching Rainier and Filia playing at the playground. As we lay there, Cammie shared her reservations about the marathon. This is basically our relationship in a nutshell. Ben proposes big idea. Cammie has reservations. If you want a little snapshot into our relationship. The thought of our schedule was tough enough on her. She was already resistant to the idea of finishing in 161 days, and now we were taking 3 days off to run 26 miles that weren't toward our goal. We still weren't making our daily mileage goal, despite constant attempts to tweak our hiking to save time and get more miles in. Taking another 0 day was not a relaxing thought for Cammie when we were so behind. While these types of challenges and interruptions gave some members of the family more energy, that wasn't true for Cammie. She valued planning, predictability, and relaxation. Mm-hmm. Look, we don't even know if we can still register for the marathon, I told her. Let's just enjoy your birthday tonight. We can worry about the marathon later.
Do you want to read another section? Or
Sure.
do it?
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, this is your birthday.
Yeah.
You should read that one.
All right. It's not that long.
All right.
Cool. Cammie's birthday cake. Besides John and Nicole, the couple we'd spent Easter with, one other couple reached out to us before we began our hike, offering a place to stay. Their names were Mike and Claudia, and their house was less than a block from the park. They had a bunch of rooms they made up for us and had gift packages for each of the kids full of treats and new socks. Claudia even bought loaner clothes from the thrift store for all the kids to wear while our laundry dried on clotheslines hanging in the front yard. Claudia helped organize the delivery of a cake for Cammie's birthday. She drove more than an hour to a famed specialty bakery in Virginia. When I ordered the cake, I wasn't paying much attention. On the small phone, they all looked the same. I just knew I wanted red velvet cake with buttercream frosting, which was Cammie's favorite, and I ordered the largest at 15 inches. What I couldn't see from the small picture was the cake was more than 8 inches high. It ended up costing $100, weighed 12 pounds, and had 45 servings. That just makes the story even better. As per my request, it had "Embrace the Suck" written across it in script lettering, which is a famous phrase Cammie wore on a patch on her pack. We ate as much of the cake as we could, but were already stuffed from our meetup with Tanya at the park. We gave part of the cake to a nearby hiker hostel and packed out the remaining 8 pounds for the next day. That's dedication, packing 8 pounds of cake, but it was worth it. As the laundry was drying on the clothesline and we were all walking around in our loaner clothes, I looked up registration information for the Flying Pig Marathon back in Cincinnati. The race happened in 3 weeks and it was completely sold out. Crap. However, there was one possibility. We had a special connection with the race director. Years before, when we first decided to run a marathon as a family, we saw the minimum age was 18. So I registered, and the 4 older kids joined me unofficially, running the entire course. After 26.2 miles, we all crossed the finish line together, and the officiant gave everyone a medal, even though the kids weren't registered. When another officiant found out what we'd done, she took the medals away from the kids, even though there were plenty to spare. The kids went home heartbroken at how close they were to getting a medal, so they decided to make their own. Within a week, the director of the race, a woman named Iris, heard about our kids and their homemade medals. She came by our house and put medals on each of the kids' necks. She told us to contact her if we ever needed help running again. That was like such a sweet gesture for her to do that. Now in Damascus, I contacted her right away. She told us to put our names on the waiting list and she would see what she could do. That night, we went on a walk through Damascus and told the kids about the significance this town played in our story. When we'd first fallen in love with the idea of backpacking, we never would have imagined hiking with 6 children. It was amazing how quickly that time had passed and how easy it would be for another 16 years to fly by. Okay, this is a journal entry by Eden. Can you see that? There you go. Towns were an opportunity to catch up on many tasks that were not possible in the woods. Eden, 15, used her list to maintain sanity in a world that had been flipped upside down. So she has this to-do list, and on her to-do list, she has some things crossed out, but throw away trash, wash dishes, empty pack, resupply snacks and teepee, journal, play piano, stretches, brush teeth, shower, repack, wash trekking poles. I think she was the only one that like consistently washed her trekking poles because they did start to smell. All right, your turn.
All right, I'm going to catch up on comments here. A few people are talking about the marathon. Scott says, a friend watched your video and is shocked that you went back to run the marathon. That was a pretty common sentiment. Mm-hmm. Christopher says, when y'all stopped to run the marathon, I knew that you all would make it through the entire AT. That's really funny because I feel like that's almost like a backwards way of looking at it in a way. Like if I saw people stop to run a marathon, I would think maybe they don't care about finishing the AT
because
it wasn't our first marathon.
Well, maybe it was because I wonder if that showed our grit to like be like, okay, well, we're actually also gonna go run a marathon. So I don't know.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, running a marathon is kind of a, I guess it's a badass thing in a way. But I was more, I don't know. It was a huge morale booster. Shoot, I'm giving away the story, but it was also like an emotional thing I feel like we had to do to say, like, we had so many people that it felt like were criticizing us that I feel like I needed to just like give them the middle finger and be like, listen, leave us alone. We're not taking this too seriously. It was kind of sending a message to ourselves too, I feel like. And the kids, man, they just like loved it. And this is like one of the things with parenting. Before you just like write off our family real quick and be like, oh, you guys are different. You guys are so strong or super, and your kids are the type that run marathons. I think this is what I learned from traveling internationally really early on is that people get used to anything. Like when you see kids in other countries or people in other countries, like things that seem impossible to us are just like really not to other people, which means to me that offers hope that if we want to achieve something with our family or change a standard of what's normal, I mean, it does take a lot of work, but the payoff can be pretty epic. I do think it's pretty cool that my kids all can say, except for Rainier, who's 5, that they've all run like multiple marathons. Not only can they do it, but I think they enjoy it because it's always been their choice. We've never like even pushed a kid to run a marathon. Thank you, Christopher and Christina, for the compliments about how badass it is. And yes, Rachel, I agree with you agreeing with me that kids get used to what they are around and doing on a regular basis. But I do think there is like, if there's anything I'm proud of in terms of parenting with this, I think I have an eye for like selecting the types of events that feel epic that kids feel really gratified doing. I mean, we could go out and run 26 miles like this weekend by ourselves, but it wouldn't have this feeling that comes along. Like the marathon around here is so social and it's so exciting and it feels like you're in the middle of this just awesome event. And when my kids did it for the first time, they were swept up in all of that. And it made the running, it almost didn't even feel like running. It's kind of weird, but so I think one of the things I love to do as parents is to challenge parents to reimagine these types of events that inspire our kids to do the types of things that we want them to do. But instead of just forcing them, which is kind of boring and I don't think works very well, to like have the creativity to think about how can we inspire them towards those things. Anyways, you guys got me monologuing, but it's they don't call it Sunday service for nothing. Okay, we are on the section called The Degenerates. The next morning, we had breakfast at the only cafe in town. Sitting in the restaurant were 3 of our friends, Fun Facts, Culligan, and Nubs. They told us they'd been so hungover from hiking, alcohol, and sleep, they didn't think the 30 miles was worth it. Also sitting with them were 2 women we had seen stumbling out of the Smokies, Mama Kish and Not Dead. They were fiddling with some new conch shell necklaces they had shipped there, blowing them and making a funny sound like a cross between a horn and a whistle. They were taking turns blowing and laughing as they responded to each other with a conch. On the trail, it would be so cool if we had that conch shell necklace here. I don't think it's here. It is? Oh my gosh. Okay. You guys want to hear what this conch shell necklace sounds like? For a little bit of context, I recorded this audiobook, which I think is like 14 hours long. And the only sound effect is this conch shell necklace right here, which I'm giving it away. It's a spoiler that we even have this, but I'm not going to tell you how we got it yet if you don't know. But Okay, so this is what the degenerates had, and this is what it sounded like. This is what they would do. One of them would go like this, and then the other one would go. And I don't know if this sound is coming through. It sounds really pretty sad and pathetic. Like, it doesn't sound like a sound you make on purpose.
But in the woods, I don't know. It sounded pretty epic in the woods because there's no other sound like that out there.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, I'm glad we have that here. That's the sound we heard. On the trail, it's common for hikers to form up in groups and travel in packs, affectionately called tramilies, trail families. This group of 5 had decided to hike together and, as was common on the trail, adopt a group name. Given the fact they had slept in for more than half the day due to their 30-mile bender, they appropriately called themselves the Degenerates. During breakfast, we got an email from Iris, the race director. Not only was she able to get all 7 of us registered, Rainier wouldn't join us for this one, but she registered all the kids for free. Cammie and I looked at each other. We knew it was crazy and that we should be saving our 0 days for rest and weather. But we knew what going home and participating in one of our kids' favorite events would do for morale. It was too good an opportunity to pass up. It was final. We'd be running the marathon in May. We called my parents and made arrangements. They'd pick us up from wherever we happened to be on the trail at the time. Of course, we could only estimate our location, but we did know one thing. Virginia was the longest state on the entire AT. We'd need 2 days for the marathon, 1 to prepare and 1 to run, plus 2 partial days of hiking in which we'd also have to get in 8 hours of driving. We'd have to get in to get as many miles on the trail as possible until then. So I want to tell you guys about the scheduling thing just because it was kind of crazy to pull off. Hey, Bobby, happy Mother's Day to you. Oh, Bobby.
Oldest of 4. Thank you for the Mother Day wishes, oldest of 4, and Bobby. And yes, you did spell my name right.
Okay, so like picture there's a day here, and there's 2 days where we're like running. So we're going to try and like hike for 8 to 10 miles on this day and then drive to 8 to 10 hours home. Then we have to prep for the marathon, which means like getting our race packets, like trying on shoes, like even just doing laundry and crap. Then we run the actual marathon, which is like 6 hours or 7 hours the way we do it, waking up at 6 a.m. and all that. Then I think we plan on coming back to the trail this day, but whatever day we came back to the trail, we wanted to still hike another 8 to 10 miles. So really, we're only missing 2 days off from hiking. These other 2 days would have been essentially almost full hiking days, even though we really needed 14 miles a day. So anyways, that was like the types of juggling we were doing. So even though we were gone for a while, it didn't feel like it. Okay. We left the Degenerates at the cafe and hit the trail, walking straight uphill for most of the day. Due to our slow speed, we were passed at lunch by all 5 of them. It was kind of depressing how much faster they seemed to go with so much less effort. We exchanged nods and a few quick words about how difficult the hill and heat were. We struggled with the heat for the rest of the day, and when we were a couple miles short of our goal for the day, we heard a familiar sound. That's what we actually heard in the woods. It was the conch shell necklace. The Degenerates were camping by a stream. Exhausted from our hike, we took a vote as a family. The vote, mostly led by the kids, was to stop short of our goal and spend the night by the stream with our friends. This was a big moment for us. It was the first time we prioritized hanging out with people over reaching our goal. When we first started the AT, all the kids could think about was the friends they'd left behind. They never considered they'd make new friends like the Degenerates, who we never would have met if not for the trail. When we smelled their fire and thought of the 8 pounds of cake we had in our pack, it seemed like a no-brainer to stop and share. Before we knew it, we were sitting around the fire, smoking cigars, and using plastic sporks to eat $100 red velvet cake straight out of Ziploc bags. The cake was totally mashed by this point. It had no effect on the flavor. Most hikers fit into 2 categories. Some are young and full of energy. They're often on the trail to find themselves with a little partying on the side. Others are older, retired, and finally completing a bucket list item. The degenerates were in the younger category and were laid back and friendly. We later realized we'd actually met Culligan on the first day of our hike. We really enjoyed being around the group, but we were still trying to hold friendships loosely. We hadn't considered forming friendships with hikers because most were so focused on the practical aspects of the trail and didn't seem that interested in talking to kids. But the degenerates seemed genuinely interested. We've been watching your family for a while, Culligan said to the kids as we all finished off the birthday cake. I'm impressed. Not many adults could do what I've seen you guys do. A lot of people start in Georgia with big talk about being a thru hiker. They talk about what pose they'll strike when they get to the A-frame sign at the top of Mount Katahdin. You hear a lot of excuses when they quit. It's their knees and feet. It was the weather. One simply said, "We don't do the cold." Others had more nuanced explanations. It wasn't what I expected, or I already got what I wanted from the trail. I don't need to keep going. By making it this far, we'd earned the degenerates' respect. In turn, they'd earned our trust. All right, we are going to take a break right now for our special musical guest, which I'll introduce in just a second. But I want to address this comment by Rachel. Absolutely love the relationship you formed with them. Man, I do too. And one of the things that was so cool, Rachel, about the hiking community and was that for our kids, one of the things that drives me crazy about school is that it's so hard to form relationships outside of your immediate peer group or age. And I just feel like there's such a huge loss with that. Like, I feel like in more older communities, like teens would hang out with babies and also hang out with grandparents, which I feel like makes for a much more like well-rounded character. I lived in a nursing home during like 5th and 6th grade, which really formed a lot of my development. I think I was constantly around senior citizens because my parents worked in that industry. And to see my kids hanging out, like my kids being teenagers, hanging out with these like young adults, and also to be invited into that circle and to be able to watch it all was really like, these are people that we wouldn't have hung out with otherwise. But on the trail, we're both just hikers and we both just like respected each other. But like Culligan was like an engineer, I believe, and like a 25-year-old, I don't know the exact age, but let's just say he's 25, like professional guy, and teenagers don't hang out with those people. And fun facts was a bisexual college student, which was important for us because coming from a more conservative background, our kids weren't really exposed to people that were open with their sexuality and things like that in that way. And that made for a very valuable experience for us and for them. So anyways, so many cool relationships. This is one of the more special ones for us that we track along the way. Okay. But without further ado, I have a very special musical guest to introduce to you guys tonight who almost did not make it. And this is the case every week with this particular musical guest is right before recording the day of. They usually say something like, I don't know if I want to perform. I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm good enough. And I say, I think I'll be fine. Why don't you just pick a couple songs and just play? People will like it. And she's like, fine. Except for this time, I had to buy her a Starbucks drink to bribe her to do it. Okay, that's the intro. Now I'd like to introduce you guys to Mother of Six for Mother's Day. It is Cammie Crawford, all the way from that house. Can I see my hand? That house. You
That
can't see
house.
that house right there.
Over there.
Yay. Welcome, Cammie, to the show. Cammie, we're so glad you made it.
It's good to be here.
Glad you could join us. And Christian says, Cammie inspired my listening to Cat Stevens all week.
Oh, wow.
And Christina sends clappy, clappy, clappy emojis.
Thank you. That's great. Okay. Well,
Would you like to share about your struggle to get here?
I don't know what it is about me, but I think I have a tendency to need to be prepared or to feel prepared when I'm performing in front of people. I don't have a ton of experience doing this kind of thing, and that's why I'm trying to show up every Sunday so that I get more experience, because I actually really want more experience performing. And I'm thankful for Ben for nudging me or bribing me to get here, because I feel pretty good now. It was a struggle, more so today than probably any other Sunday, to get me here. But I also just have this like voice in my head that's like, yo, you don't have any more new songs. No one wants to hear your songs, blah, 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 blah. So that's a little thing into my head, but thanks for listening.
Ooh, and you got a text message from Kate that says, Happy Mother's Day. You'll perform great. I'm watching.
Okay. Okay. I feel supported and nervous all at the same time now. No, that's great. Thank you, Kate. She's my good friend. Okay. Anyways, here we go. Headed down south to the land of the pines. I'm thumbing my way into North Carolina. Staring up the road and pray to God I see headlights. Made it down the coast in 17 hours, picking me a bouquet of dogwood flowers. Hoping for LA I can see my baby tonight. So rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind in the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Running from the cold up in New England, I was born to be a fiddler in a one-string band. Baby plays guitar, I pick a banjo now. Oh, the North Country winters keep it getting me now. Lost my money playing poker, I had you up to me. Turning back to living that old life no more. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind in the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Walking to the south out of Roanoke, I caught a trucker out of Philly, had a nice long tow. Headed west from Cumberland, Tennessee. Gotta get a move on for the sun. I hear my baby calling my name, I know she's the only one. I might die in Raleigh, at least I will die free. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like the wind in the rain. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me. Rock me, mama, like a wagon wheel. Rock me, mama, any way you feel. Hey, mama, rock me. realize this song had Mama in it. So appropriate for today. Nice.
Yay. Babes, you're getting clappy emojis here. And Christina says your music is always lovely. Tell that negative Nancy voice to shush it.
Thank you for that encouragement. I appreciate it. All right. Here we are. Okay, so just getting my notes lined up here. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. We are on. Oh, I had that in the wrong fret the whole time. Oh, well. I guess it still sounded okay, right? Cool. This year's love better last. Heaven knows it's high time. I've been waiting on my own too long. When you hold me like you do, feel so right. Oh, now start to forget how my heart is torn when I hurt is wrong. Feeling like you can't go on. Turning circles when time again hurts like a knife. Oh yeah. If you love me, got to know for sure. Take something more this time. Sweet, sweet lies. Before I open up my arms and fall, losing all control. Every dream inside my soul. When you kiss me on that midnight street, sweep me out my feet, singing, hey, this life is so sweet. This year's love better last. This year's love better last. All right. This next song I wrote. It is called Smaller. And this song will be.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah, this is a good song. I like this song. But I am making an album, and it is getting very close to being done. I have a session with a friend who's helping me record and polish everything this week, which should be my last. And then I'm just like hoping like 2 or 3 weeks from now, and I'll keep you updated about that. But this song will be on there.
Hey, first you're getting a thumbs up from Diana, Sean, Chris. Diana says she's enjoying your singing.
Oh, thank you.
Clappy emojis from Rose and Christina, and party emojis from Rose.
Nice. Wow, thank you. Okay.
And Nate wants to know where Rainier is.
He is at his grandparents' house, right over there. Yeah. Never know. He might walk in. We'll see, but. Am I taking up too much space? I try to erase the things I put in place. I don't want to bother you or tell you what to do. I just do what you ask me to. Smaller, you can't get any smaller. Try to be smaller for you. Will this do? Let myself be pushed around as I try not to make a sound. When I go about this town, I say sorry a lot. It's the only defense I got for taking up this spot. Smaller, can't get any smaller. Try to be smaller for you. Will this do? Maybe I have things to do that are hard to see when I take away me. Maybe I can take up space and don't have to erase my beautiful face. Smaller, can't get any smaller. Try to be smaller for you. Will this do? It's okay to take up space. Don't erase your beautiful face. It's okay to take up space. Don't erase your beautiful face. Smaller, it can't get any smaller. Try to be smaller for you, but I'm through. Woo! Thank you for listening. Appreciate it.
Rose says it's one of her faves.
Thanks. Yeah. Comes from a special place.
Well, Cammie, I'm glad you made it tonight.
Me too. Thanks for encouraging me.
And we'll talk next week about an hour before when you try and back out again.
I need to, well, whatever I need to do. Figure my shit out. Isn't that why we're all here?
All right. Back to the book reading station to get business done on this end. No more fun time over here.
Oh, this is fun. Reading's fun.
People are writing nice things. Is that Arnie?
Oh, Arnie. Wait, are you Arnie 1 Mile?
She just followed me on Instagram too.
Oh.
Arnie,
Well,
if that's you, we got your book order. We're not taking your money. We're going to refund it. We're mailing you the book and a couple extra copies for free. All right. Well, that's a sad story. Scott says, lost my mom back in 2016. It's always hard. Great to hear your voice. Okay. Back to business. Resonating with others. Right before we hit Damascus, we met a few of the many people along the trail who would make a big impact on our family. First, we met a woman who called herself Grace, right on the heels of the comment attacks on Reddit. She was in her late 50s and wore a green hoodie. Grace said, I've heard so much about your remarkable family. I'm so impressed. Oh. Ha.
That's not her.
That is Arnie. She says, yep, don't want to change the flow. We'll talk at the end. Too bad, Arnie. I'm changing the flow. For those of you that don't know, this is Arnie 1 Mile in the comment thread, who is the star of chapter... let's see. Geez, this is a long chapter. Chapter 3, The Town's Our Salvation. The lady that picked us up hitchhiking and we rode in the back of her van on the bed. That is her. So welcome, Arnie 1 Mile. It's good to have you. Okay. Grace said, I've heard so much about your remarkable family. I'm so impressed. And I've been hearing from all the other hikers that have spent nights with you in shelters how well behaved your children are. God's richest blessing on you. I've been praying for you, and I refer to you as the family when I talk to God. It made my day to be able to meet you. Grace's words touched us deeply. She hugged all of us, and we walked away with a spring in our step. Only an hour after meeting Grace, we met a group of older men who called themselves the Old Guys Hiking Club. Every single one of them was so encouraging and funny. They told stories of how they'd left the trail a few days earlier because of the cold, and how embarrassed they were because they knew all of you were up in the mountains with kids. They treated us like celebrities. They knew all the kids' names and took pictures with us, exclaiming, "We're amazed. We can't believe we ran into you." It was like they were starstruck. They'd watched our YouTube videos and dissected the miserable scenes of our start at Springer Mountain. Rainier's missing rain pants and how we went back to the van as if recounting a scene from their favorite movie. Bless your hearts, one of them said. We didn't think you guys were going to get 100 feet after that start. As we left them, they pushed trail mix into our hands and said, we're with you all the way. By the way, people that say that they never thought we'd make it are my favorite ones to like hear the story and read the book, because I love it that people can actually change their expectations of what's possible from being exposed to new information or a new story. So I get that message every once in a while. Someone said, oh, I saw you in the beginning. I never thought you'd make it. And I'm like, why would you think that? Like, you don't know us, but we all have preconceived notions about what's possible. So I love it when people like hang in there enough to see that, oh, it is possible. We met a hiker named Gnome. He was in his 60s and had a raspy voice and long gray beard, which gave him his name. He wore an orange rain jacket with a hood and looked like a character from The Lord of the Rings, crossed with Fiddler on the Roof. When he heard we were near, he waited in the rain and fog on the top of a hill, hoping to meet us. We approached, and he ran up and hugged us. He had tears in his eyes. I am so blown away by what you guys are doing and so encouraged to see family pulling together. Just like the Jewish tradition, I want to lock arms and literally support each other. I'm walking with you. I love you guys, he said, most of this in tears. As he continued, tears welled up in our and the kids' eyes. Our journey was resonating with people. Hiking as a family struck a chord, and people knew something about it was right. There was a power in what we were doing that people could sense. The kids loved when people assumed we were out there hiking for a weekend. But after talking to us for a minute, they were shocked to learn we were doing the whole thing. After a while, people usually said, oh, are you the family I've been hearing about? Because we often walked in a line spread out over a quarter mile, we didn't always hear everyone at the same time. Often we had passed strangers going the opposite direction and overhear them talking about our kids, not knowing that we were the parents. That's unbelievable. Did you see that? She was carrying a full pack. After these meetings, our family would get together and regroup. The kids would repeat what they'd heard, trying to imitate the accents and excitement. I saw you guys on YouTube. You guys are the family from the computer. And we would all laugh. Even on White Blaze, a few supportive voices had started to appear amidst the critiques and moralizing. Even a user who had previously criticized us had changed his tune. Well, I met the Crawfords this weekend at Devil's Fork Gap in between Hot Springs and Irwin. I came up on the kids first and kindly asked them all individually how their trip was going. They all had smiles and a tired expression of their thoughts on the hike. Overall, they seemed pretty happy, and they were very well behaved and well spoken. Up and over the next hill, I ran into the parents with a sweet little boy in the carrier. I have to say that these folks are 100% different than they seem to be on their YouTube channel. They were easy to talk to, very polite, and I could see myself enjoying a fire and some beers with them. The 2-year-old was a little shy, but I would talk to him and make funny faces, and he would just smile and laugh. I spoke with them for about 20 minutes. I did not question them on anything controversial. I did ask how the Smokies treated them, and they said they had a real rough time of it, but ended up making it to Newfound Gap during the worst of the snow and slept in a women's bathroom up there for the night along with several other hikers. They made it down to Gatlinburg the next morning via some sort of hitch, I would assume by government employees, and they holed up there for 2 to 4 days. I would like to personally restate my opinion on the matter, and that opinion is I don't really have a right to have an opinion. It's not my family, and I won't ever be lucky enough to have the experience, good or bad. Dad shouldn't flick his lip, correct. May have been more suitable to start in April, correct. But now it is April. All is well, and they are in high spirits. I hope they make it to Maine, and if not, well, they had a great trip. By Gambit McCrae. Now, this comment is notable because this is someone who previously on this forum had kind of talked a lot of shit, I think, if I remember right. And he's quoted earlier on in the book, but using his screen name. I don't know what his real name is. So it was fun to watch people like on forums, like kind of come out pretty judgmental pretty quick. And after a while, like, well, this guy, he didn't see our videos. He actually met us in person and said like, oh, never mind. Which I think is like a really important thing as a YouTuber to not assume that you know anyone from the content they put out online. You know their content. You don't know them. And, we put a lot of work into making our videos at least as interesting as possible. And the interesting stuff isn't always the most accurate stuff. I mean, not to say that it's inaccurate, but we don't show you us sitting around talking about our day with each other. We show you about like the fights, or we show you about the drama, or we show you about the things that are really the most difficult. And then a lot of people, I think they know us, and they think that we suck at life because we're always complaining, but it's like we're showing you the most difficult parts of our day. Anyways, that's just a little side rant. For many of these people that we met, we made their day and they made ours. Cami loved that many of our encouraging encounters were with older people. Having lived long enough to see their own priorities play out, they saw what we were doing was special. Many said they'd wished they'd done it with their kids, or said we'd never regret this. We felt honored and emotionally uplifted from these encounters that eventually happened every day, and then multiple times a day. We have one more little section here, but I want to comment on what it was like, or actually what it's been like getting encouragement over the years from people. Our family hiked for more than 5 months, but before that, we've run for almost a decade now, just in our city, and we run with our kids and each other. And just like, it's hard to even count anymore, like, especially when running the marathon. I would say we've heard from hundreds of people, probably not thousands of people, but just like when we're running the street, like I'll never forget running through downtown Cincinnati once, and this black guy, like 7 and I were running. I don't think we had our shirts on. He was probably like 9 or 8. And he was like, that guy's got it figured out. He just like yells across the street at me and my son running. And so many times, like we're running along and people say like, they'll say this one line. It's so funny. They'll be like, a family that runs together, as if like that's a common statement. But I guess the ending would be was like stays together. But people seeing us together do these things, it's amazing how when people see it, they get so inspired, which is kind of funny because people run all the time, adults run, and even kids run. But I guess it's really unusual to include.
Do it go together.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, so much of stuff in our culture is segregated by age groups. So I think when you see parents doing things with kids, especially like things that you don't normally see them do, it kind of makes people like, wait, what? What's going on here? What is this? And have said to us, it's really interesting because we've ran with our kids and like 10 times or something. People will say stuff like, are you, is this a school group or is this a daycare? Like their first thought isn't family, it's these other institutions.
It's because I think people think you would only be stuck with your family if you have to. Like, it's more likely to run for school, which a lot of people hate running for school. Yeah, it's so weird. I remember this one time people were like, what are you guys? Are you guys a cross country team? This is like while we were running a marathon. I was like, we're a family. It just sounded so weird. Look, Arnie said that she listened to chapter 1 and then listened to chapter 2 and 3. So she's in chapter 3.
Wow.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
Okay, last section. For today.
I can go either way. If you want a break.
Do you want to do it?
I'll do it if you want a break. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Wait.
It's long. Oh, is there?
No, it's short. I'll just do it quick.
Yeah.
Okay. Hiking shoes or running shoes? Back in Damascus, I decided it was time for a new pair of shoes. Shoes are the most important piece of equipment when you're hiking such long distances. Most people go through 3 to 5 pairs in one through hike. At this point, mine had holes on each side and needed replacing. At the local shoe store in Damascus, I tried on a pair from a shoe company named Ultra. Right away, my feet felt radically different. These shoes were intended to be more natural with a zero drop design. That just means they're flat. That meant the heel was not raised. It was more like the barefoot running shoes I had used back home that were supposed to be better for your knees and back than traditional running shoes. These Ultras also had a wide open toe box, and I couldn't believe the difference on my first day wearing them. I felt like I was walking on clouds. I felt like I was cheating. Within a day of hiking in them, I wanted to get Ultra shoes for everybody, but at $150 a pair, it would be more than $1,000 to outfit the whole family. This would be a major expense upgrade from our earlier strategy of buying whatever was on clearance. So we emailed the company with a video telling our story. To our excitement, they responded right away. We'll mail you 7 pairs. Just send us your shoe size. Okay, what I had found out also was the founder of Ultra was a guy named Golden. I believe he ran his first marathon at the age of 12 or 14 or something like that. And I don't think he owns the company anymore, but the company is kind of crazy in that way where we had some things in common because you don't find many kids running marathons. Telling your parents, coworkers, or friends that you're quitting work and life to go and walk in the woods can be a bit awkward. People just stare at you. But being a sponsored athlete was something that everyone in the real world understood. Ultra support made our journey feel legit. As the weather finally started to warm up day by day, our bodies and minds began to change as well. We were getting stronger physically, and it seemed like each day we were letting go of our attachments to creature comforts. But no matter how much we changed, and no matter how much more attuned and comfortable the trail started to feel, one thing never changed: the distance of each mile. We'd hiked almost 500 miles at this point, but that still left 1,700 to go. And because of our 0 days, the daily average we needed to hit had only increased. We pushed ourselves to our max, but had still only averaged 10.9 miles a day. If we were going to run the marathon, we needed to raise our average to 14.8 miles a day. It seemed impossible. No matter how hard we tried, We just couldn't find a solution to our mileage problem. Was the marathon going to dig us a hole we couldn't get out of? By taking the time off, were we actually saying goodbye to Katahdin? Dun, dun, dun. All right. I am going to play the conch shell one more time for you guys. Actually, I should end off with that. If you stick around in a minute, I'll play this one more time for you as a way to tuck you all in.
Nighty night.
Okay, that's all for today. Scott says, love to have a cigar with you too one of these days. Scott, where are you? We're in Kentucky. Bring us the cigars. Arnie says she's caught up now. Wow. To chapter 9. That's really great.
It is.
Look at Christina. I left a review on Amazon, by the way. You yelled at me last time when I admitted I read the book, but hadn't made a review. Yes, it was under my husband's account, though. Your guilt trip totally worked. That is such good news. What, Christina, what is your husband's name that the review is under? Oh my gosh. I hate doing guilt trips. I only do it when I have to, when you guys force me to. And that's a great reminder. Was Christina the one that was watching our unschooling video? I feel like she might have been. Because I never found out how that went. Is it Zachary? I feel like she might have left a review under Zachary. Unless it's Brian. But anyways, one of the ways you can totally help out if you're enjoying this time is by leaving a review on Amazon or Audible or Goodreads. That really helps us out because that helps new people find the book. And Arnie is asking, can you leave a review on Amazon if you don't buy the book from them? And the answer is yes, if you have an Amazon account that you use at all. And if you can't do it on Amazon, you can do it on Goodreads. But then you have to create an account and all that. But yeah, okay. So I read the Zach Powell one. Christina, thank you for leaving that review. And yeah, you don't need to buy it on Amazon to leave a review on Amazon. So thank you guys so much. It's one of the ways you can help out. If you want to buy the book from us, if you don't have a copy yet, I'm giving 20% off for people that are watching this. If you go to our merch store, the link is in the description, and you use the coupon code Sunday Service, that will get you 20% off the book if you haven't bought it yet. And if you want to buy it, I sent out a copy. Someone wanted a copy last week, but they didn't have money. I sent it out to them. So you should be getting it.
Is that just for the book or is it for other stuff too?
I think it's just the book. Okay. Or you know what? I think it's everything. Shoot. If you use the coupon code Sunday Service, I think it gets you 20% off all the merch. You trying to sell your merch on my podcast? Or?
So I have, if you want any t-shirts, we have Hike Your Own Hike, Safety Second, and a Fight for Together t-shirt. If you use that code, I believe that will give you 20% off the t-shirts. We also have mugs, our Fight for Together mugs. So go check it out.
Oh yeah, Christopher, did you get the book yet? Did we mail him the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he got it yet, but.
And then Urban Gardner says, listen to that interview on the Hiker Radio Network podcast. Really great listen. That was a really fun one. Mm-hmm. Christopher says you're sending money for the book this week. Great. Take 20% off if you want. Do whatever makes you feel good. Bobby says Campbell County Library got one in. Oh, great.
Oh, that's where we live.
Yeah. Well, she lives on the next block over.
Okay. Cool.
That's Mason's grandma.
Oh, Mason's so sweet.
Mason came on a run with us once. I think.
Yeah, he made it for like a mile.
I think he had a rough go.
He had a scooter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was really fun though. Mm-hmm. Okay, guys, that is it. I think we're here next week, right? Let me look at my calendar.
So.
And that's at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And you guys let me know 16th. What you want to talk about, because we can talk about what you want to talk about. Yep.
Oh, Yeah, she's saying he made it to the aquarium. That's right.
Dude, I was so nervous that he wouldn't like make it back, but he was like,
Yeah.
"No, I can
He's
make it
like, I
back."
know. Okay. All right.
Next week we'll be on chapter 10, and yeah, if you can leave a review. Do I need to shame anyone else? I'm gonna do it. Is there anyone that has read the book but not left a review yet? Please raise your hand right now and come to the front of the classroom. I know one of you is out there. I know someone's there.
You're triggering people's trauma right now. They're like, oh, classroom, classroom.
Oh, Christina says that she sent a message about unschooling on Instagram. Dang it, I have not been on Instagram much lately. But I don't mind spending like next week after this session to talk about unschooling more. But I just haven't been reading those messages. Cammy's been doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Trying.
Okay, Rose is wishing me a wonderful night and a happy Mother's Day, but says you have not left a review. Damn it, LOL. But I will. When, Rose? That's what I need to know. And I will shame you until you leave a review. I don't even care if it's a good review. It just needs to be an honest review. And what should I do how do people shame people? She's doing it right now. Okay, if you do it right now, I won't even have to mess around with shaming. That's the type of action. That's the type of shame we need around here.
See, shaming people works.
Jeez, I should start doing this with the kids. This is great. All right. All right. Thank you, Rose, for not making me shame you anymore. I really appreciate it. I don't like shaming people, but I only do it when I have to, when you make me do it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Oh, here we go. Ready? This is the ending. Okay. I'll do the first part and you do the second part. Ready?